They say every crossroads holds a prayer that never made it home, left hanging in the dust between where a man's been and where he can't bring himself to go. Dust settled low on the broken sign, pointing nowhere, same as mine. Boots stepped slow where the shadows bend, marking the way to things I couldn't mend. A faint old hymn on the drifting breeze, shaking the pines like a restless plea. I felt the night grow heavy with what I lost, prayers left lonely at the crossroads. Oh mercy, hear me now, I'm a sinner, learning how to carry what the good Lord never chose. Prayers lost at the crossroads. A rusted lantern swung in the cold, lighting the stories I never told. Gravel shifts like a whispered name, calling me back to the man I became. The road split wide like a broken vow, begging me to kneel, but I don't know how. Even the wind felt frozen by the cost of prayers I carried to the crossroads. Oh mercy, hear me now, I'm a sinner, learning how to walk a path where the night wind blows. Prayers lost at the crossroads. Maybe grace don't shine from above, maybe it grows from the dirt we shove. Maybe your soul finds what it owes on the knees of a crossroads. Oh mercy, stay with me tonight, guide this worn out heart to the light. If forgiveness blooms where the wild wind goes, let it lift the prayers I lost at the crossroads. And when the lantern dims, the road listens, holding every word. I never found the courage to speak. Some miles don't remember footsteps, this one does. Every hymn the wind hums out here belongs to someone who never made it home. Dust drifting slow on a lonesome bend, carrying songs that never found their end. Old fence posts leaning like tired men, guarding sins we never speak again. My breath turned thin in the desert air, like a prayer, unsure if someone's there. I walk that stretch, mile after mile, listening to dusty hymns from the forgotten mile. Oh, let the wind sing low tonight, carry my sorrow out of sight. If mercy waits where the shadows pile, it'll rise from dusty hymns on the forgotten mile. above the sand, pointing nowhere like an empty hand. Footprints fade where the moonlight falls, soft as a ghost walking ancient halls. A broken tune clings to the cedar sway, a whispered echo of yesterday. The night felt heavy but somehow kind, holding dusty hymns in the back of my mind. Oh, let the wind sing low tonight, carry my sorrow out of sight. If mercy waits where the shadows pile, it'll rise from dusty hymns on the forgotten mind. Maybe the songs we lose don't die, maybe they float through the open sky. Maybe grace walks with us a while, through the dusty hymns of the forgotten mind. Oh, let the wind take what I can't bear, lift my burdens into the air. If peace is found in a place so fragile, let it come through dusty hymns on the forgotten mile. When the wind finally quieted, the mile fell silent, like it had sung everything it ever needed to say. A weary path don't judge a man, it just listens. Quiet as lantern glass trembling in the wind. Lantern glow trembling on the dirt-worn trail, faint as a promise, too tired to fail. Footsteps echo in the cooling night, each one leaning on that flickering light. Branches whisper like an old refrain, carrying pieces of forgotten pain. I walk slow, afraid to look back, following landlight on a weary path. Oh, guide me through this hollow dark, where shadows press against my heart. If mercy shines where the nightfall cracks, let it be this lantern on the weary path. Through the cedar and pine, tracing the faults I claimed as mine. A broken prayer hangs on my breath, caught somewhere between hope and death. The dirt remembers every step I've known, every truth I've left unshown. Still the glow held steady through the aftermath, that fragile landing on the weary path. dark, where shadows press against my heart. If mercy shines where the nightfall cracks, let it be this lantern on the weary path. Maybe the light don't lead you home, maybe it keeps you from dying alone. Maybe the road forgives our past under the lantern on a weary path. Oh, guide me one more mile tonight. Carry my sorrow in your trembling light. If peace waits where the wild wind passes, let it find me walking the weary path. And when the flames sank low, the road felt softer, as if it too was tired of the dark. The pines remember what men forget. Names carved into wind. Sorrow tucked between every needle and sigh.
Moonlight dripping through the tall black pines, falling on footsteps that once were mine. Cold earth breathed like a waiting grave, holding the tales I never could say. Branches bent low as if calling me back, tracing my sins along the wandering track. I heard it soft like a mournful clay, the pines whispering his name.
Oh, the night spoke low and the wind spoke true, telling the secrets I once outgrew. If mercy hides where the shadows came, it hides where the pines whispered his name.
Lantern flickered on the forest floor, lighting the ghosts I'd run from before. Their voices tangled in the cedar's breath, calling me out like a dead to death.
My heart beat rough in the trembling hush, fading like footprints in evening's brush. Still the woods sang on like an old refrain, the pines whispering his name.
Oh, the night spoke low and the wind spoke true, telling the secrets I once outgrew. If mercy hides where the shadows came, it hides where the pines whispered his name.
Maybe a man ain't ever the same.
Once the trees remember his forgotten shame, maybe the forest keeps what we disclaim.
Echoing here
name.
Oh, the night fell deep,
but I stood still, listening to the wind along the hill. If peace remained after fire and blame, it lingered where the pines whispered his name.
and when I walked on, the trees kept murmuring, as if they knew he'd never really left. Never left. A man don't kneel because he's weak. He kneels because the dark finally shows him what he's been running from. Night press close on the forgotten trail, cold as the truth beneath the sinner's veil. I dropped to my knees where the shadows bled, hearing echoes of every word I'd left unsaid. The stars looked on like distant eyes, silent judges in the mournful skies, and there I stayed, worn and starved, the traveler who knelt in the dark. Oh, mercy, find me where the night runs deep, where the ghosts I made refuse to sleep. If grace still stirs in the midnight star, let it touch the traveler who knelt in the dark. Curled slow through the cypress trees, carrying whispers of old decrees. My breath came thin like a dying flame, caught between sorrow and the weight of blame. I felt the earth on my trembling hands, as if it knew the measure of a broken man. Still I waited, lost to the world's remark, the traveler kneeling in the dark. Oh, mercy, find me where the night runs deep, where the ghosts I made refuse to sleep. If grace still stirs in the midnight star, let it touch the traveler who knelt in the dark. Maybe the dark ain't here to break, maybe it's where our truths awake. Maybe a soul can mend its mark only after kneeling in the dark.
Oh, mercy, rise like a distant spark, guide this worn-out heart through the storm. If forgiveness lives where the shadows haunt, let it lift the traveler from the dark.
And when I rose again, the night felt lighter, as if it knew I wasn't running it anymore. Every road asks a question, but a two-way road. It asks which version of yourself you're willing to meet in the dark. Evening fell slow on the fork ahead, where the pines lean close like the quiet dead. Dusk curled soft beneath my worn out stride, carrying whispers I could never hide. A crow cried one from a crooked post, sounding like the warning of some lingering ghost. And there they stood, silent and cold, shadows waiting in the two-way road. Oh, mercy, stand with me tonight, where the past and future split in the fading light. If truth reveals what the darkness holds, it'll rise from the shadows at the two-way road. Left path twisted through a cedar grave, where the sins I buried learned to misbehave. The right ran clean toward a distant gleam, soft as redemption in a half-lost dream. My breath caught sharp in the drifting air, as if the world was holding me there. Time stood still, heavy and slow, the shadows waiting at the two-way road. Oh, mercy, stand with me tonight, where the past and future split in the fading light. If truth reveals what the darkness holds, it'll rise from the shadows at the two-way road. Maybe a man ain't judged by choice, but by the trembling in his voice when he steps toward the path that's open, leaving his shadows at the two-way road. Oh, guide me now through this trembling choice, steady my heart, quiet my voice. If grace still shines where the wild winds blow, let it meet me walking down the two-way road. And when I finally chose a path, the shadow stayed behind, watching, but letting me go. redemption don't hide behind churches or saints. Sometimes it just hangs crooked in the dirt, pouring a man one shaky mile at a time. A warped old sign leaning into the breeze, letters half buried beneath the creeping leaves. His arrow bent low like a tired plea, pointing somewhere a man hopes to be free. Dust clung thick to the trail below, marking the weight of every debt I owe. And there it stood in the twilight's tension, a broken signpost to redemption. Oh, guide me, fragile and barely whole, lead these weary boots toward a brighter soul. If grace still waits past the world's suspension, let it lie beyond that signpost to redemption. Pale on the forgotten track, lighting the ghost pressed against my back. Branches swayed soft with a knowing creak, as if they'd heard every prayer I speak. I touched the wood, felt its splintered pain, like the echoes of sins I couldn't explain. Still it pointed on with quiet intention, that broken signpost to redemption. Oh, guide me, fragile and barely whole, lead these weary boots toward a brighter soul. If grace still waits past the world's suspension, let it lie beyond that signpost to redemption. Maybe the broken things still lead us right. Maybe they shine in the faintest light. Maybe hope grows out of imperfection, born from a signpost to redemption. Oh, lead me now through this trembling dusk, past all the fears I've learned to trust. If mercy rides on the night's ascension, let it follow that broken signpost to redemption. And as I walked on, the sign didn't straighten, but the path somehow did. Rising quiet in the midnight hush, moon held breath in a silver painted crush. Gravel sang softly under trembling feet. Cross on the hillside calling in broken heat.
Whispers drifting low across the pine. Sins he carried heavy down the line.
With a cross glowed after midnight, he found a light carved through the fear. Every sorrow he had buried in the dirt burned truth drew near.
At the crossroads where the shadows bite, grace was standing in the quiet night.
Wind curls slow like a prayer undone. Ash and memory tangled into one. Steps grew steady on the haunted trail. Heartbeats rising where hope seemed frail.
Voices from the past began to fade as a glow cut through the scars he made.
Where the cross glowed after midnight, he found a light carved through the field. Every sorrow he had buried in the dirt burned away when the truth drew near.
At the crossroads where the shadows bite, grace was standing in the quiet night.
Midnight shimmered on that sacred sign, guiding every lost soul back in line. Where the cross glowed, he learned to rise, safe beneath those southern skies.
The south wind's a thief. It steals what a man can't bury and carries his sins farther than his boots ever could.
Drifting through the old pine roads, lifting the dust where his story froze. I felt the air shiver with things unsaid, like whispers rising from the long gone dead. Every mile trembled beneath that breeze, stirring the truth with an aching ease. And somewhere deep in that mournful spin, the south wind carried his sin. Oh, blow, southern wind, blow far and wide, take what he tried so long to hide. If mercy waits where your howl begins, let it ride the south wind, carrying his sins. Cicadas hum like a funeral choir, calling his name through the lowland fire. Branches leaned in with a knowing sway, as if they'd watched him fade away. The breeze pulled soft at the tattered ground, lifting the guilt he never drowned. I felt the weight
shift then within, where the south wind carried his sin. Oh, blow, southern wind, blow far and wide, take what he tried so long to hide. If mercy waits where your howl begins, let it ride the south wind, carrying his sins. Maybe the wind forgives what men deny. Maybe it lifts their shame to the sky. Maybe redemption's whisper grows thin on the breath of a wind carrying sin. Oh, blow once more through the dying light, carry his burden into the night. If grace still breathes where the dusk grows dim, let it ride the south wind, far from him.
And when the breeze finally settled, the land grew quiet. Like it knew his sins, had found somewhere else to rest.